Welcome to Coffee with Bernie, a roundtable discussion brought to you by the American Institute of Building Design and hosted by Bernie Kern, an AIBD fellow and residential designer in Central Colorado. Now, today, Bernie tackles one of the biggest moments in the design process, presenting and refining early designs with clients. As designers, we often encounter two main challenges: balancing client expectations with budget limits and explaining design ideas to non-experts. These hurdles can lead to confusion, extra revisions, and delays, which can throw off project timelines and leave clients frustrated. In this episode, our experts share their go-to strategies for dealing with these issues, and they talk about how to manage client expectations, explain design concepts in simple terms, and use tools like hand sketches, CAD drawings, and 3D visualizations to help clients see their vision. Grab your coffee and get comfy and join us as we share real-world experiences and tips to turn these challenges into opportunities for better collaboration and results. This month, we're coming to you live from the Design and Build North Myrtle Beach Conference. Take it away, Bernie.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to get started.
Hello?
Good morning.
Hello? Want me to stand up and yell?
Good morning, everybody. We're going to get started with our AIBD Coffee with Bernie.
Bernie.
Yeah, I'm Bernie.
Bernie.
That's Ted.
Hi, Bernie.
Ted. All right. Welcome everybody to AIBD's Coffee with Bernie. This is a roundtable discussion, so I just wanted you guys to know that this isn't really a presentation. What we're going to do is present a topic, and then we're going to count on you guys and those people online to help us have a 1-hour discussion today on that topic. Now let's move on to our tradition that we have here at AIBD Coffee with Bernie, is to show off your coffee cup. Those of you online, if you're able to be on screen, if you just kind of raise up your cups that you have for today. And Ted, that's not going to work. Hang on.
I went the hotel standard coffee cup that was issued here at the hotel.
It's not going to work, Ted.
Oh, I get one.
Yeah. There we go.
Now I'm officially a twin of Bourbon, or a Bernie.
I think I cleaned
Bourbon.
it too.
Last night.
Anyway, again, welcome to Coffee with Bernie. If you can hold up your cups. All right, lots of white styrofoam cups. Looks like snowflakes. The cups, not the people.
I got a cup, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I want to kind of get us a little going here with a little kind of a fun breaker thing. So on the count of three, I'd like for everybody in the room, this is for those people online to get a feel for how many people are here. On the count of three, if you can all say and shout out, Design, Build, Carolina. Okay? On the count of three. You want to do the 1, 2, 3?
I can do the 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Design, Build, Carolina.
That proves it's not just us.
Yeah. I think it can be a little louder. Hey, hang on.
All right, everybody, inhale.
How about you and I do it really loud and give them an idea how it should sound like?
Oh, okay.
I'll do the 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Design, Build, Carolina. Okay. Now we're going to select you guys again. Go ahead, Ted.
1. Take a deep breath, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Design, Build, Carolina.
All right. I hope everybody online
You hear that? They got somewhat of a camera there. Everybody wave. Everybody wave. You're on camera. You're live. You're on the internet. You're famous. All of you. There we go.
All right. We're going to go ahead and get going with our topic here. If you've been a regular attendant to the coffee chat, we've been focusing on our relationship with our clients. And each month we kind of do a little different topic on things on how we relate with our topics in our design work. So for today, we're exploring the best practices for presenting and refining preliminary designs for your clients. So in other words, that very first drawing you put in front of your client's table, we're going to be talking about the challenges of that and how, what you guys do, so you can kind of share with everybody. And hopefully we'll get some people online that kind of will share some of their ideas also, so that we can all kind of learn from that and maybe pick up some new tips.
How many people do we have online? 20, 29? What is it? 27 people joining us online. That's nice. That's nice. Being on screen.
Yeah, you guys online, please come on screen, because I can see you, and I really would like to see you. And when you put your hand up, then we can get you to speak up. So my first question for this morning. In your first sketch or preliminary to your client, what do you find as most challenging? So in other words, that first drawing that you put in front of your client, you've met with your client, they told you what they wanted to do, you got a contract signed, you go to your table, or maybe you're sitting there still with your client, and you put together that first drawing. What are the most challenging things that you feel happening with that scenario?
Myself, it's the apprehension of, did I get it right?
Yeah, and if you raise your hand, be sure to look up, because there's a square red thing coming at you.
Yeah, so one of the first challenges, and probably a continuing challenge, is typically they are asking for 10 pounds into a 5 pound, right? So it's usually the square footage and what they're really wanting in that square footage of that footprint, whatever it may be. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, bonus room. I want a media room, and I want it all in 2,500 square feet.
Yeah.
So that's usually the first hurdle, is getting over that, along with the budget as far as what they want and how much they're willing to spend for it.
Yeah. So Alan, I have that same challenge. And oftentimes what happens to me is I'm usually over the square foot.
Always.
I'm over and I'm showing them, okay, I wanted to show you what you can get if you ask for all these things. Does that happen with you?
Yeah, correct. Like, so if they're looking for, say 2,500 or 3,000 square feet, I typically let them know that, we'll be within that range depending on, what feels good with the room. And it is relatively fitting into their budget. They usually kind of bend on that. But again, it's the challenge of what they're requiring and wanting in that floor plan within the square footage that they.
Yeah. But thank you.
Yeah, the square footage one is a challenge. I usually tell people, if you have a full house, that's 1 square foot of space just in width of the house. Go ahead.
Yeah. We're seeing some of the coffee cups on screen there.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, you got to, can you bring her back? Can you bring Bonnie back?
Right here.
What did you do, cover her face up?
Yeah. Hi, Bonnie.
Oh, the coffee cups. We're showing the coffee.
Hey, everybody. That's my wife. Good morning.
Oh, that's a classic. That's a classic.
Good seeing you, Bonnie. Yeah.
Oh, this is more of a technical question or technical issue, but it's walking the line between putting enough information on the drawings that a homeowner who's usually a layman can artfully understand them, with putting too little on and them not understanding it. Although putting too much information on takes more time, so then you're cutting into the amount of time you have overall to do the project. So I'll do stuff like, I'll throw dimension lines on, but if I think they really can't conceptualize, I'll make the dimension lines like a different color.
Yeah. Well, aren't, would you say that room sizes and things like that are kind of important to show? If you,
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the challenges that I often run into is being too creative, where they've given me a laundry list of specifics, that they want to include, and I'll look at it and see an opportunity to tweak it and maybe put the kitchen in a different place than what they had in mind. And sometimes it works, and they love it. And sometimes they're like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm trying to solve the problem that you've given me, that's probably the biggest problem that I have with it is I like solving the problems, but I don't like creating them for myself.
Audrey,
I caught. Oh, go ahead, Bernie.
yeah, hang on a second, Brandon. Yeah, Audrey, I see that you put something in the chat box and it's a little bit far away from me. Would you mind getting on and just kind of telling us what you said there?
Have to figure out where all the buttons are.
Yeah. And by the way, good morning. It's good seeing you. I wish you were.
Good morning. When there's a budget, it'll come. Yeah, on that same line of the last gentleman, I'm usually throwing out a whole ton of ideas because as you're doing it, you come up with all sorts of different ways of solving what the potential issues are in different ways. But each one then leads to another question that you may not have asked at the front because you didn't know you were going to end up in that situation. So there's all these different options. And so I like to preface the whole thing of just be sure to know this is not the plan. These are ideas designed to generate discussion and clarity and see what you knee jerk to I definitely didn't want this, or, oh, I never thought of that, but I would really like that. So it's more of a direction generator and brainstorming. And so I have to be better figuring out a way to better describe that to the client before I either present or send them options going, don't get hung up on anything in these drawings. Just use it to further clarify.
Yeah, good point. I think that's going to come up later in our discussion too. Like, I mean, how much detail should you put into something, and
Yeah, I was going to.
what do you want to present first, just to not be overwhelming with drawings. I mean, you obviously can't pull down a full set of working drawings in the first meeting.
Now, mine are more just rough layouts, just a bunch of stuff to generate ideas and see which direction they want to go in and what's important to them.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. We got Brandon over here.
Hi. I know y'all can't see me, but that's okay. I've always liked, that first draft that you show people, because I always felt that that's where you have the first real conversation about the design. Because as a client says, we want this, we want that, they can't visualize. And so now all of a sudden, I always felt like now we're on the same page. Now they understand what I'm saying. I understand what they're saying a little bit more, because now we have a map rather than we just kind of need to get from here to there. And so I always felt that I always look forward to that, because you kind of see the light bulb go on.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's what, I understand that now. And then they realize that, oh, well, that's not going to work. Or, hey, I hadn't thought about that. So now they're more engaged in the design process because now they have something to look at.
Yeah. That's something to start with, right?
Mhm.
I often call that first meeting with the first set of preliminaries or sketches. I'll say to my client, this is your first look, implying that this is a process. We're going to be going through this.
So I tell my clients that one of my jobs as their designer is to be a tester. Okay, they tell me what they want, and I'll do my best to present that, but I might also present some other ways of doing it because I want to test what they're really telling me. And in that process, I'll find out if what they told me is really what they meant. Because like you just said, they can't visualize it. And so I'll put it on paper and show them that what they're asking for might not work or might not be the best idea. And I'm not trying to show them that they're wrong, not doing that at all. But in the testing process, we can actually discover what they really do want.
Mhm.
Okay. And then there was another thought. Sometimes they just go around.
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah. It'll come back.
What you're saying reminded me of something. I imagine it happens to you guys too, but most clients will say, I'm hiring you for your expertise, so I want you to provide your creativity into this as well. Is that what you mean by testing it, just kind of,
You come up with something.
Yeah.
Can't read your mind.
we have someone online.
Oh,
Chris?
online.
Curtis, hey, how's it going?
Hey, good. Good morning, everybody. Really wish I could have been with you today.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if any of you use like a bubble diagram to begin actually working with a client to not even really draw rooms so much as just show a basic layout of how traffic is going to go for a home. Do any of you use that, and at what stage would you do that? Would that be considered a preliminary design?
Yeah.
Not
Curtis.
even dimensioned or anything.
Yeah. Curtis, are you talking like little bubble diagrams, like the great room's going to be over here, the entry's gonna
Correct.
be here? Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yep.
That's a good point. I would like to ask how many people do just a hand free sketch bubble diagram. Myself, I go straight to construction drawings with mine. I'm not doing this thing twice. And I tell them, I show doors, I don't show any windows. We're just trying to get the roadmap that Brandon was talking about. Well, I really thought the kitchen would be over there. Well, your garage is over here. You really want to take the groceries with a busted egg? And it's some of us are explaining, and the bubble drawings work great for some people. If you're used to doing it, great. But it's interesting how many people, it's 50-50 on who does what.
Well, yeah, you're kind of leading us right into our second question. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Love that. Good job. Can we
How
get
many,
the,
how many first-time people to Coffee with Bernie are here? First-timers, got a couple first-timers.
first of many, right?
How many first-timers to a convention are in here? I don't have enough shirts.
I don't know if you guys know, but we're on our 5th year of doing this coffee chat thing.
Want to show them your shirt?
Well, not yet.
Not,
I want to go to the next question. Steve, can you go ahead and put up the photo?
Do that.
Yeah.
I find I do a lot of vacation homes and that, and very slopey sites, very tough sites, a lot of views, mountain views, lake views, and that. I find the best thing is to meet people on site right away, and that way you can get a good concept of what they're trying to views, what they're trying to get out of the house, and what they're trying to look at, because you could be looking at a view this way or that way, and the other thing is what they're looking for might not be conducive to the site also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You ever do your site visits first? Go out there and make sure that the house they want to do is going to
I'm on the site first thing when I need them.
Yeah.
Most of my meetings are first time I need them right at the site.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Yeah.
Or I'll get on Google Maps when I'm on the phone with them just to see where it is.
Yeah.
So I know where it's like.
Yeah.
you have something on the big screen, Bernie?
Yeah, I wanted to show a couple things here. It goes with this next question, and there's just like about 6 pictures on there, and I want to just explain them real quick because it goes with this question. Some designers sketch, and some designers use CAD software to present their first drawing. You just told us that. The question is, what techniques do you use that help your clients visualize your ideas? So these drawings here are first drawings that I've done for clients, and sometimes I'll go right to a CAD drawing, which I did on that one there. The next one, there's a hand sketch there. This was a project that it was an addition and it had a very serious HOA height restriction, and I had to show the clients all the different things that we could do with what they wanted, including a very complicated stair location off the existing house. So I just did quick hand sketches for them just to kind of show them, hey, does your project, can it even possibly work? On this client here, I went right to a rendering. I wanted to show them they were doing a covered deck addition to their house. I just wanted to show them what that would look like. So I went right to a rendering on that first drawing to my client. And this one here, just quick sketch that I did while I was sitting down with the client, kind of showed them what
While you're
back
with
of
the
the
client?
Yep, on the
Good.
back of the house, yep. And then that one there is another first look, yeah, that was a CAD drawing, an exterior view that I wanted to show someone that wanted a craftsman style home. And that's your drawing there, Ted. Isn't it?
That was probably my sketch. Yeah.
Sure.
That's his CAD drawing.
Thank you.
Very good work, Bernie. Very good.
All right.
Impressive.
So my question again was, what techniques do you use that help your clients visualize your ideas? So you saw some of the examples I did. Sometimes I would do a CAD drawing, sometimes I would do a hand sketch. What do you guys do that help your clients visualize what you're trying to show them?
Nobody raises a hand, I'll pick somebody. You're getting better, Dennis.
Yeah, hey, Scott,
You
hey,
got to step and throw.
Scott, while we're getting set up here, go ahead.
All right, trying to figure out how to operate this. So when I'm showing clients preliminaries, I use Chief Architect, and everything's in 3D. So I'll typically just show them maybe some interior elevations of a kitchen or a bathroom, but it's really just rough and quick and making sure that we're getting the idea down. But one of my hardest things is when I get something laid out and we're getting down the road, and the client wants to go in a direction that I feel, I mean, it's what they want, but it's not what I want, because it doesn't flow as well. That is one of the hardest things I have is designing something that I don't like, or I don't feel like is the best way. But I mean, it's their plan, so I just powered through that. But I throw a lot of ideas. Sometimes I'll come up with an idea, or I'm laying out a bathroom, and I'll just copy that over to the side and lay it out, and then show it to them. If they like it, they don't like it, whatever. But
yeah,
I'll invest that extra time to show them some ideas that maybe they had not thought of.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. And then we had someone, Kevin, hey, how's it going?
Hey, Bernie. So we do something very similar to what you were just showing. I just, it's just the way I design. I think there's something that happens between my head and my hand. Like I have to be able to sketch this out. And let me talk about bubble diagrams and different things like that. Like I start laying that house out, and when I first start laying the house out, like the very first thing I design is the garage. Like how am I approaching the house? Okay. So how is it fitting with the topography? And then figure out the floor plan layout. And I'll do that with a hand sketch. Then I usually put that in CAD so I can calculate all the square footage and make sure everything's right, put it on the site plan, and that's all in CAD. But my initial hand drawings for the front and back elevations, which most of the houses we do are mountain houses or lake houses, so the back is just as important as the front. So we'll do a front and back hand drawing of their style. And I think somebody else brought it up, trying to get exactly what that client is looking for. I don't know how many clients, like you have to understand they're not the expert in what we are the expert. Okay. So like when they explain something, I want a craftsman style house, or I want a modern farmhouse, or I want to like whatever style, I always qualify that with what does that mean to you? And so that I can get a little bit closer to that first round, because, and some of your clients are a little bit more savvy than others. Like, I've had clients that go, well, I want some triangles on my roof. So I'm like, oh, you mean gables? Yeah, whatever. But then I've had other ones that come in and they're very versed in the style of house that they want. They've done before. They know exactly what they're doing. So, but our first run at this is I hand sketch everything, then I put it all in CAD, so I can calculate everything. We do hand-drawn sketches for the front and the back and present that. And when we present it, we take them through the front door and take them through a trip through the whole house in a very calculated manner. Now, on our big remodeling projects, because we're putting the as-built into the model already, we present it in CAD and with perspectives and things like that are already done. And with our CAD program, we could go back and forth from existing to new and flip it back and forth and show them like, here's what it looks like now, here's what it looks like then. And that's an easier way to present our remodeling projects.
Kevin, that sounds like a lot. I mean, did you just say that you do sketches first and then you put them on CAD and then you do a walkthrough before you have your first meeting with the client?
Yeah, the sketches for me is for me. Like that's where I do all my thinking and kind of put their laundry list together.
Uh-huh.
We have a great relationship with a lot of our builders, and so like a lot of times I'll present it to the builder before I even present it to the homeowner. So we put that team together early, so that I'll have a better concept of the cost of this thing. So, like Alan said, like sometimes square footage and budget is the hardest part. I don't want to present something that I know is $500,000 over budget.
Yeah.
I'll run it through the builder first and say, hey, give me a ballpark on this. You had the same conversation with the client as I did. You know, where do you think we're going to land on this? Where you think their spec level is going to be? Because, you know, sticks and bricks are one price and what goes in it is the next price. So based on their spec level, I think the builder has a really good idea of what that budget's going to be. And if I'm a little over in square footage, but their spec level is a little bit lower than anticipated, then we're okay. But we run it through that kind of check and balance system. And then a lot of times he might see something that he goes, oh, well, remember they said they don't like this. And I'm like, oh, you're right. Let me fix that first. And we'll go through that little process with a couple of our builders, which is, to me, it's fantastic because then we can present something that's, you know, 80% there. But it is part of that evolution of what the, you know, final drawing is going to be. We're not expecting that the end all be all.
Yeah. Kevin, that's just amazing. I would love to be your client because it sounds like a meeting like that, your first meeting, is just very, very impressive. Be cool.
On over. I'll design your house.
Yes.
Kevin's here grinning his teeth off. He says, yeah.
So it's really cool listening to all the different procedures and processes that everybody goes through. And some of us grayer than others have learned that we try this procedure and that worked for a little while and this doesn't work. First 10 years of my business, it was hand drawing. I'm kind of a fixer. I've grown up an artist and I've got a hand, but if there's a better way, I always try and find that better way. Steve will tell you, on my first live design competition, we had Southeastern Builders Conference in Florida, where we had this platform of the convention center was live design. I was the guy who solved the problem, but I never finished it. So that kind of was one of those bells that goes off that you got to do what works for you, right? And whether it's going straight to CDs or bubble diagrams or whatever, you work with that. What I did, I do bubble diagrams electronically, right? I don't draw because it's inefficient for how I work, right? I'll make a laundry list of things that I've gotten from my lists that I get, and I'll mention that in just a second. They want 3 bedrooms. I'll make 3 12 by 12 boxes, you know, for instance. I know I need a garage and this size great room and a kitchen. It's just a shape. And I'll just move those around and organize those. It's exactly the same as a bubble diagram, right? So once I've got it, okay, this all works, work out flow things between rooms later. Whip a polyline around it, offset it. You got, where are you in your square footage target, right? So you know very quickly, electronically, you know you're pretty tight on your square footage. If it's something that, let's go to plan B. This is way over, okay? And so I'll do that for my bubble diagrams. I'll do them electronically. And I had to kind of sneak that in. I didn't tell people a lot because I felt like that imposter, that all my close pals are artists and drawing these magnificent things and burying people in Bumwald. If you ever met Susan Berry in a design competition, you sat next to her, you had bumwad crawling all over. She's incredible. I'm not that guy. I have to work with this stuff and render and work electronically. And the square footage thing, I want to touch on that too. What was I thought I want to touch on? I'm going to touch on a couple. There's so many things. But you could present these things now electronically that look hand sketched, you know, so that you could dial things back and make them look a little softer if somebody wants that. Oh, the list, that's where I was going to go. Most of the people that we're working with, and our company, the Total Solutions Group, works with lots and lots of different builders. Me, I'd have to say 90% of what I do is individual work, that there's no builder. And we're preparing a design and set of plans so that they could take it to builders and get these things bid out. So it's just a different clientele. And you'll know from the list, I'll ask them, I need one short list of the things that are paramount to the design. Square footage is a must, or this room, or this facing this direction. Tell me 5 or 10 things that you must happen in this design to be successful. Second list of items is the things that are on the bubble, you know, the wish list items that if you can work it into the design, it's great, it's a win. If you can't get it to work, it's not a deal breaker. And then the third list is just as important, is to know the things that they don't want. You know, the house that they're living in right now, the sun comes up in the window in the bedroom, it drives them crazy. So they will, you know, you gotta organize this, or they hate where the dishwasher is, and you just design around those things first so that you don't have to go through that iteration of design things. You know, you dial it in so much quicker and closer to the concept to where you can almost, and I do tell clients that, because they'll ask frequently, how many submissions do I get? You know, how many designs will I get? And I tell them that most of the time we're going to get it in the first or first and a half type of concept, that if it's only two things, either I'm not paying attention to what you're telling me, or you can't make up your mind. You know, it's usually one of those two things. And so you'll know if you have that laundry list of things and you know that they're asking for 10 pounds, but their budget is 5 pounds, you're going to let them know early on. And communication is the biggest thing. I know I can't get you to 10 pounds with your budget. Yeah. What would you prefer to do? See, if you put everything on paper first to present to them, now they're part of the design team. They can assist you and say, well, I thought I wanted this playroom that size, but I really don't need that as much. I really need more in the laundry room. So now they're engaged in it. It's an anxiety reducer, you know, because design takes time. They don't sign the contract, write you a check, and they don't hear from you for 3 or 4 weeks, you know. Mm-hmm. So you keep them engaged in the process with these little assignments. Go find me some precedent image. What kind of columns do you like? Give me 200 different pictures if you want, and we'll find that vocabulary. But it helps a lot. Just keep them in conversation.
Yeah, good, David. Thank you. I really like that part that you mentioned about.
You on the, can't read them.
Yeah. I like the part that you mentioned about how talk to your about what they don't
Got
want
it, Lyle?
in the home they live in. Oftentimes when I mentioned to you that I'll go out to the site to meet with the owners out on their property, oftentimes I want to go back to their house and sit down and start talking about their design. And I'll ask them to walk me around their house and show me what they like, what they don't like. So it's a good point. Thanks.
Lyle.
Yeah.
For those of you that know me, you know that I use PAD, not CAD, which is pencil-aided drafting. So what I quite often do as a first presentation to a client is to basically, knowing what kind of square footage or what kind of rooms they're looking for in the house, I'll lightly sketch out in pencil so that I get the proportions correct. But then I go back, and I usually do it on tracing paper, and I'll go back with a Sharpie felt tip and hand draw over that so that what I'm presenting to the client doesn't look like I'm committing them to something. It looks like I'm presenting something to them to engage them in a conversation.
Yeah.
So I don't want my drawings to look so complete that they feel they're kind of boxed into a corner.
Set in stone, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to remember that, Lyle. That's a good point.
Makes the client feel like they're the important one. That's really important in our business.
Sorry to interrupt the program. Just a quick word from the host of our show. If you're a residential design professional looking for a community that supports your career and advocates for your rights, join the American Institute of Building Design, the leading organization for residential designers. AIBD is dedicated to protecting the ability of its members to practice their profession, ensuring that homeowners and builders receive high-quality design services. As an AIBD member, you gain access to exclusive benefits like webinars, industry tools, and continuing education opportunities. Plus, AIBD advocates for rights of residential design professionals, particularly those who are not licensed architects, to ensure that they can continue to provide excellent services without unnecessary barriers. Existing members, remember to log in at aibd.org/login to access all your benefits. If you're not a member, go to aibd.org/join today and become a part of a community that supports your profession and your personal growth. Now, back to our broadcast.
Oh, one in the back. We finally got somebody in the back.
Oscar, is that you?
Yeah, it is.
Hey, man.
Hi, nice to see you. My question is, how do we become flexible and remain liquid to meet the needs and understanding of the clients as we use this language? Because that's what we do. We create these sketches, drawings, CDs to be a bridge between the client, our technical and artistic skill for the GCs to put it together, right? So at what point do we need to know, like, you know, do we use the hand sketch? Do we use the CAD? Do we use the elevation? I think, you know, the level of granularity in which we present to them has to be with their level of understanding of what we're trying to convey. So if they can take a hand sketch, you know, then that's great. That's early on. And then if they know how to read they can see a CAD drawing. And sometimes they can't see either one of those, you know, so
Yeah.
you have to go to 3D and use something like Southplan or see for either one of those. I think knowing how to use all of those for different purposes, I think will help one kind of, you know, have that conversation with the client and understand the vocabulary which they're trying to explain their ideas and needs to you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to take a chance at answering that a little bit. So one of the things that I found out very early on dealing with all the clients is all of my clients are custom home built. And the majority of them are not even in my local area. So going to their site plan right off the bat is not going to happen. I had to learn that with those, when I'm on a Zoom meeting, I do my initial 30-minute call and it's just to gather information. And I find that I'm sketching at that point. I do a lot of hand sketchings at that point. I don't show them in that call. I get their information. I go back. I find out if they want to move forward into an actual design phase. We talk about that. At that point, I start showing them. I learn at that point whether or not this person is going to be sketch or computer. That's the point I learned. Because you're not going to know it until you talk to them. Once we talk to our clients, we kind of have an idea of who they are and what's going to work. That's when we move forward with what's going to be best. I've had some where I can get through all the way up through the preliminary. Everything is hand sketched. I don't like doing that, but sometimes it's the most effective way for them. They need this, you know. But the ones that really do well are the ones that I can pull up soft plan on one screen, show it to them while I'm talking to them, and I've designed their first floor, you know, and come up with a rendering, not a great rendering. Don't know. Let me rephrase it. It wouldn't be constituted a rendering. It's a 3D image that looks similar to what they might get. Yeah, it's a massing model. There you go. But it's that idea that they can finally say, hey, yeah, that's it. My first version generally to them is a lot of what they've asked for. And then, okay, now that you see what you've asked for, you see how it looks and how it's laid out. This house, and I'll let them know that the first iteration generally is going to be over budgeted because you've asked for so much. We need to figure out, even from the things you said are super important, we may have to look at this and see what we have to either scale down or remove and how that's going to look. The nice part is while we're doing that, they're seeing how it looks. They're seeing what comes out. You know, I don't need the bonus room. Okay, boom, there goes that dormer. Oh, I don't like that look. Well, we can put a false dormer in. That's going to cost you $15,000 less than what the room does. You know, so there's that kind of thing. And I think to answer your question, until you talk to them, you don't know. And you have to listen to your client. Biggest thing I think we have when we're laying out initially is if our communication isn't more listening and less talking, then we've probably done our clients a disservice. At least I know for mine, that's what I have to do. I have to do a lot less talking and a lot more listening.
Yeah, good point.
Now I'm going to listen to David over here.
Real quick, there was a question online, a statement, Scott Phillips, if I can read it. Basically, it says, since COVID, let me see, wow, I'm not that blind. Here we go. The hard thing since COVID is people don't understand how much stuff goes into their budgeting is always lower than what they want. Has things changed for everybody since COVID? Are you able to get people in, or is it all PDFs going out? Nope. Oh, well, let's go back to that bombed.
Getting back to this kind of combines the last several discussions that we've had, and yet sometimes you're listening to a client, you're looking at this thing and you're sketching out on a piece of paper, you know, this is not gonna work. But they say, this is what I want. And you gotta give the client what they want. Sometimes to show them that what they're asking for is not the right thing. It doesn't work, and you've got to drop back and find. That's when you come back with, all right, I have this other idea, and then usually you can help steer that conversation from there.
Yeah. Good points. I really like the one, Dennis, that you brought up about being a good listener. Wow.
I used to be a first baseman.
I wish you guys online could have seen that. That red thing just went flying across the field.
For my process, I realized this morning that I've been using Chief for 20 years. And to go back to sitting there with them at the table and whipping up hand sketches, to me is problematic on two levels. One, I do have an artistic background. I'm left-handed. I should know how to do this. It always ends up just being a mess. But the other side of it is that they're paying me for my expertise and my technology and my experience. And one of my favorite sayings from my old sales career was, you don't want to spill your candy in the lobby. And if you're sitting there designing in front of them in 20 minutes, then they think it's going to take an hour to finish the job. And what I like to do is do the information gathering. And I do go on site, and we're working all up and down from North Carolina to the Eastern Shore of Maryland. I'll take a day and I'll set up 2 or 3 appointments, and I'm going to the site because I have to see where the house is going to be. We're dealing with a lot of waterfront, mountain views, riversides, and you can't get that wrong. But the first thing I do, we also do a lot of additions and remodels. And what I do with an addition in particular, and sometimes with a house, is I'll build the box first as it relates to the house. I want to see how the roof line can work. I want it to look coherent. And aesthetically, from the exterior, I want it to make sense. And then, like on our waterfront projects, you have all kinds of footprint restrictions. You can't go this close to the water. You can't go this close to the well, blah, blah, blah. So that creates a footprint problem. I used to work with a builder on a regular basis where, bump it out 2 feet, bump it out 4 feet, and then you end up with this roof that looks like, the Cascades. And nobody can afford that. So I try to look at it from the shape of the box, how it works in the available footprint, and then I'll go back through the list of floor plan needs and see how I can best fit as many of those priorities in as possible. And in the process of doing that, when I'm presenting the preliminary, I give them, the PDF with the floor plan roughed out, and the room dimensions are in the rooms, but I don't overload it with stuff because you can't see the floor plan. And then I also, since I'm using Chief, there's a series of 3Ds. And my favorite one, the one I think is the most effective, is the one where you can do the whole floor plan in 3D and you're looking at the clue board.
Yeah.
That is so effective at demonstrating how you've worked out the flow. And if you go pass from this room to that room, there's the secret passage from the conservatory to the lounge, and those kind of things. And it makes a big difference, because usually when you're dealing with a couple, one can see the blueprint and one can't.
Yeah.
And having the 3Ds available, you're able to communicate all of that comprehensively. So that's kind of my process.
Good. Yeah, thank you. We're going to go one quick question with Scott, and then Ted has something to share with us. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to clarify what I was saying there. The material costs and building costs have gone up exponentially since COVID. And I try to keep in touch with custom builders around the area at what the square footage price is. Here in Dallas, it's gone up crazy just because all the people from California moving in, I think builders are taking advantage of them being used to California. But I use those numbers to help clients understand how much their house is going to cost, whether I agree with those numbers or not. That's the reality of the area I'm in. And a lot of the times clients kind of debunk that and they want what they want. And then they go and get it bid and they're like, well, you can't get this built. So it's very important to try to keep a track of the building in the area that they're building in and knowing how much builders are charging so that you can help your clients stay within budget.
Yeah, good point. Thanks, Scott. You know, Scott, I can't tell you how many times I hear this. We got people moving from California into our state. They say that in Colorado too. They say that in your state. I'm afraid to go to California. I don't know what's going on.
It's the only convention I ever missed was California.
Okay, you got something to come and share with us.
Well, Coffee with Bernie's worldwide famous. So we actually have, someone donated T-shirts that say, they don't say, sorry. They say, I had coffee with, I don't know how close I got to get. I had coffee with Bernie. So we got 5 of these to give away. That's why when I asked how many first-time people we had, it's like, we don't have enough. We have to figure out how to give these away. We did have someone ask if AIBD had bumper stickers and things like that to give away. So since that was a unique question, you get the first one. Come on up.
You guys, I'm really afraid of these shirts showing up on YouTube or something like that.
You gotta come in the camera.
Someone on eBay and make up.
So we had a convention in San Antonio. Thank you. Hope it fits. And Bernie knows I like Hawaiian shirts. And he said, hey, I got you one. And he got one. And I said, let's both wear them to the architectural tour. And I had a T-shirt on underneath it. We're both just sitting on the bus exactly the same. We're walking around the same. Somebody's getting photos because I started unbuttoning my shirt and his jaw just dropped. So I thought, well, we'll get some more. Now we got to figure out how to give away the other 4. We have, I know of 2 new people. We could do that. We got other new people. We could.
Yeah, can we do that maybe afterwards for the rest of the conference here? Kind of end those out?
I got 4 total.
Okay, yeah.
So we can.
If we can do it later, because we are on the time frame. Okay. And I got one more question I want.
Figure that out.
You get out there. I'll help you with it, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to take.
I have the original.
I'm going to take all the shirts. What?
I say I have the original.
Okay. All right. Question number 3. Yeah. I'm thinking. So how often does this happen to you guys? You put together a sketch, preliminary, you think this is like the best design ever. And you give it to your client. And then over the course of the next few weeks, it's just been demolished.
Yeah.
How do you handle that? How do you communicate that with your clients? And I want to say one thing before I have you guys speak, but I also tell myself that even though I think my first layout is like the best design ever, that's how I look at it. It's not how other people look at it. I often hear this. Even Dan Sater shared this with me one time. He said that his best designs, he thinks are going to sell in his plan book, home designs that he does. The ones that he likes the best, they never sell. The ones that he doesn't like, they sell all the time. So that's telling me that people just look at things differently. That's all it is. So how do you guys handle that?
Well, I'll start. Well, before we get to you, I've done houses, finished plans that I did not want my name on the title block, but the homeowners loved it. And then there's ones that I thought were great, and what Bernie said, they're like, what's this? So we got a question back here.
No question, just I was answering what was up there with the question Bernie asked, about asking. You've prepared this great design and it was a 0 possibly. We have thick skin, as a designer, you got to be able to roll that off. And I think, I don't know who it was. Might have been me, client, after presenting a design, they look at you and ask, were you in the same meeting I was in? And you knew, wow, I got to recover. But to answer I think this is a great design. I think a great design is if I was able to solve their problem. And it's not a design competition for myself or resume item. So I think success is in where did you deliver what they asked for.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
I usually, at my first meeting with them, will say something like, once we're getting to know each other, we're trying to find something common. Like I think Kevin said earlier, a good relationship with them up front. I usually tell them, I just met you. I said, if we come up with ideas in the preliminary design that doesn't quite fit, you're not going to hurt our feelings. We want to get what's best for you and for your design that you're thinking in your head. We want to get it on paper, but you're never going to hurt our feelings if we come up with an idea. And also, I'll let them know that sometimes by being creative, we found some of those wow factors that maybe they weren't thinking about yet. So they're usually very receptive to the idea that there might be a wow factor that we can find if they allow us to be creative. But also, right up front, to let them know you're not going to hurt our feelings if we decide this isn't quite working. We're just trying to get the best solution for your design problem.
We got Curtis online too, and give him a chance to get up there.
You're muted.
Yeah, Curtis, you're still muted.
Yeah, I found that what's convinced for you the idea of my wife. But you got a different what he thinks than I do. And then something doing with or something. You do that. We found it
Curtis, we're not hearing you. We're not hearing you very well.
We're getting some.
Okay. I'll just do that.
Yeah, your audio is just not coming in really good. I'm going to move on to the next person here, Curtis. If you want to, put it in the chat box.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So I remember having one of my design professors was teaching us how to draw circles. And he said, when you draw that circle, it becomes a part of you. Okay. So when I present a drawing, I'll come to the client and I've got the drawing that I've fallen in love with. And I really think they're going to love it. Okay. And who doesn't, right? But if they don't love it, I still have it. I just created something that I get to keep, and we'll move on to the next thing with the client. So you didn't lose, you learned some things about dealing with that client and finding out what it is that they want. But I just gained a new design, that's a part of me.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I save all those first concepts that I've done, but then Dan Sater's voice comes in my head. And
some of the problems I see is with people, you do a great design and all that, and you give it to them, they love it. Oh, we asked our friends. Oh, we asked our relatives. It's like, and then that's the problem. He's like, listen, I'm not designing for 6 people. I'm designing for 2 people. So if you want to change the price, but it's a lot of input from other people than your clients, because they feel like they got to satisfy everyone else with their house.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, here comes the.
Oh, go ahead.
Just real quickly, I was, to me, you're in what Mick was saying about, getting to know that client and getting to know who's even going to have input on them, right? So a lot of our clients have their trusted advisors are their best friends, right? So to your point, it does get a little frustrating, but that's part of that process. Like when you first start going to design a house, they've got a picture in their head, and you have a picture in your head. And so like when you start drawing and sketching and putting it on paper, that's when you guys can see whose picture is right or wrong, and then go, okay. So it's that evolution process of, hey, I want to show you some things that you might not have seen before, because you might have been searching for plans online, or you might have been walking through show houses, or you might have been walking through this and that and the other thing. But, we have kind of come up with some concepts that maybe aren't mainstream, and maybe we can show you a couple things that you haven't seen before, or you haven't thought about. So just kind of plant some of those seeds. And I mean, to me, I welcome it. Like, go show it to the family at Christmas or Thanksgiving. Like, get all the input you want, so that as we're going through design development, we can get all of those things, and you've thought about all of the different things that you need to think about. And sometimes their friends and their family will come up with something, and they're like, oh, you know what? I never thought about that. But I think somebody else brought it up earlier. I think it was David. It's like, find out the things they don't like, things that they hate. I can learn more about somebody's hates than I can their loves sometimes. So it's like, a hate is a very strong word. So it's like, what do I not like about my house? Well, it's too dark. It's too this. It's too that. This is too closed off. And so you're like, okay, I'm going to bring all those concepts back into design to make sure that I don't put those things in. So as humans, we do workarounds. Nobody's house is perfect. Ted said there's never been a perfect house. There's always something that is left out. Where do I put my keys? Where do I put my mail? Where do I, do these different things? So those are kind of questions we ask our clients all the time. Like, what are your workarounds? And so we will design to their workaround. And a lot of times that helps kind of get that alleviation, right?
Thank you, Kevin. And we're reaching the top of the hour. That hour of coffee chat. Yeah, I'll get that. The hour of coffee chat always goes by really fast. Yeah, Lyle, let me read what Curtis said when he was trying to speak earlier. He said, I like to bounce an idea off my wife before I present it to my client. She has a good eye and many times will point out a feature that she doesn't like, and many times she's got a better idea. Good point, Curtis. My wife does the same thing for me. Thank you for sharing that. Wow.
This line of conversation reminds me of a fairly famous story about Thomas Edison. He was being interviewed, and the interviewer asked the question, how many failures have you had in your life? He said, none, that everything has been a learning experience. So we may think that we've failed, but it's really part of the learning experience.
Okay, getting close to wrapping up. I want to thank everybody for participating in these coffee chats. I have a lot of fun with them, but I like it when I see you guys talk and participate and have a lot of fun and be able to share the experiences that you have with work every single day. And I want to share one coffee chat that happened a few months ago, and we're doing all this virtually. I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I start seeing cats show up on the screen. Sitting there, and cat jump up on the back of somebody's chair, and a cat walk across the keyboard, and someone had a cat on their lap and was trying to talk and looking around the cat so that we could see.
Kevin, I can't remember his last name.
Captain Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't even remember what the topic of that coffee chat was, but Lyle summed it up at the very end. He said this was an episode of Cats Gone Wild. So anything can happen at these coffee chats, and it's a lot of fun. So
how often do you have the coffee chats?
It's the second Friday of every month, 10 o'clock Eastern time, and you just have to watch your AIBD Monday Minute to get the link.
A lot of information in the Monday Minute, but it's fun to do.
Yeah. I want to say thanks to Garrett and Steve for helping us get through all of this as they have through the whole conference. So thank you, guys. Again, I always appreciate all of you. These coffee chats are for you. And so our next coffee chat is April 11th. And our topic's going to be, how do you handle multiple projects at one time?
More coffee.
See you next month. Thank you.
Hey, Bernie.
Thanks.